The snow fell softly outside the tall glass windows of Bennett Ridge's corner office. He stood with his arms crossed, looking down at the city below. The lights of downtown sparkled like scattered diamonds against the winter darkness. Bennett was the CEO of Ridge Technologies, a company he had built from nothing over the past 10 years. At 35, he had everything most people dreamed of. Money, success, respect. But he was also very much alone. His assistant, Margaret, knocked on the door frame. She had worked with him since the beginning, and she knew him better than anyone. "Your mother called again," Margaret said with a gentle smile. "She wants to know if you're coming to Christmas dinner." Bennett sighed. "Let me guess. She's planning to seat me next to another one of her friend's daughters." Margaret chuckled. "She means well, Bennett. She just wants you to be happy." "I am happy," he replied, though the words felt hollow even as he said them. Margaret raised an eyebrow but said nothing. She had seen him work late every night for months. She had watched him eat dinner alone at his desk more times than she could count. She knew the truth, even if he wouldn't admit it. After Margaret left, Bennett returned to his desk. He tried to focus on the quarterly reports in front of him, but his mind kept wandering. His mother had been setting him up on blind dates for 2 years now. Each one had been more awkward than the last. Desperate conversation over expensive meals. Forced laughter. The painful awareness that neither person wanted to be there. He had started to believe that love was just another fairy tale. Something that worked for other people but not for him. Downtown, in a small apartment above a bookstore, Emma Walsh sat surrounded by her friends. They were having their annual Christmas party, complete with hot chocolate, sugar cookies, and a crackling fireplace that Emma had created using a video on her television. Emma was 29 and worked as a children's book illustrator. She loved her job, even though it barely paid the bills. Her apartment was tiny, but she had filled it with plants, paintings, and the kind of warmth that money couldn't buy. Her best friend, Sophie, poured more hot chocolate into Emma's mug. "Okay, everyone. Time for the Christmas Dare game." Emma groaned. Every year, Sophie came up with increasingly ridiculous dares for their friend group. Last year, Emma had to sing Christmas carols to strangers at the mall. The year before, she had to wear an elf costume to the grocery store. Sophie pulled out a bowl filled with folded pieces of paper. Each paper contained a dare. Everyone had to draw one and complete it before Christmas. Emma reached into the bowl and unfolded her paper. She read it out loud. "Go on a blind date with a complete stranger." Her friends erupted in laughter and cheers. "No way," Emma said, shaking her head. "Absolutely not. A dare is a dare," Sophie reminded her. "You can't back out. That's the rule." Emma bit her lip. She had been single for 3 years, ever since her last relationship had ended badly. She had convinced herself she was better off alone. Dating was too complicated, too painful, too exhausting. But she had never backed out of a dare before. It was a point of pride among their group. "Fine," Emma said with a resigned sigh. "But if this goes badly, I'm blaming all of you." Sophie clapped her hands together. "I actually know someone perfect. He's a friend of my cousin Mark. Super successful, supposedly very handsome, but apparently, he's terrible at dating. His assistant has been trying to set him up for ages." Emma's stomach twisted with nervousness, but she nodded. "Okay. Set it up." 3 days later, on a cold December evening, Emma stood outside an expensive restaurant in the heart of downtown. Snow drifted down from the dark sky, catching in her hair and on her navy blue coat. She checked her phone for the 3rd time, confirming the address Sophie had given her. This was it. Her Christmas dare. She took a deep breath and walked inside. The restaurant was beautiful. Soft lighting, elegant tables, the gentle murmur of conversation. The hostess greeted her with a warm smile. I'm meeting someone, Emma said nervously. Bennett Ridge. The hostess's eyes widened slightly. Of course. Right this way. She led Emma through the restaurant to a private table near the back. And there he was. Bennett Ridge sat alone, reading something on his phone. He wore a dark suit that probably cost more than Emma's rent. His jaw was strong, his hair perfectly styled. He looked like he belonged on the cover of a magazine. Emma almost turned around and left. This was clearly a mistake. They were from different worlds. But then Bennett looked up and saw her. For a moment, neither of them moved. His dark eyes met hers, and something unexpected passed between them. Surprise. Recognition. Not of each other, but of something deeper. A shared loneliness. Emma? He asked, standing up quickly. Yes. Hi. She walked to the table, her heart pounding. Bennett pulled out her chair, and she sat down. They stared at each other across the table for a long, awkward moment. I have to be honest, Bennett said finally. I didn't want to come tonight. My assistant practically forced me to do this. Emma laughed, and the sound surprised her. Me too. Well, not my assistant. My friends dared me. It's this stupid Christmas tradition we have. Bennett's serious expression softened into a genuine smile. So neither of us wants to be here. Not even a little bit, Emma admitted. They both started laughing. Real, honest laughter that broke through the tension like sunlight through clouds. Well, Bennett said, since we're both already here, maybe we should at least order some food. No pressure. No expectations. Just two people who got forced into a blind date having dinner together. Emma nodded. That actually sounds nice. And it was nice. More than nice. They talked about everything. Emma told him about her work illustrating children's books, about the magic she tried to capture in every drawing. Bennett told her about building his company, about the fear and excitement of taking risks. They discovered they both loved old movies. They both hated small talk at parties. They both felt like they were pretending to be someone they weren't most of the time. Hours passed. The restaurant began to empty around them, but neither noticed. When they finally stepped outside, the snow was falling heavily. The city looked transformed, peaceful and clean under its white blanket. Can I walk you home? Bennett asked. Emma nodded. They walked slowly through the snowy streets, their shoulders almost touching. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. Something had shifted between them. Something real. When they reached Emma's building, she turned to face him. Snowflakes caught in his dark hair, and his breath formed small clouds in the cold air. Thank you for tonight, she said softly. This wasn't what I expected. Me neither, Bennett replied. He hesitated, then added, Can I see you again? Not because anyone forced us. Just because I want to. Emma smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in longer than she could remember. I'd like that. As she climbed the stairs to her apartment, Emma realized something. She had stopped believing in love not because it didn't exist, but because she had stopped taking chances. She had let fear make her decisions. Below, standing in the snow, Bennett watched her window light up. He pulled out his phone and called his mother. Mom, he said when she answered. I think I owe you an apology. You were right. I do need someone in my life. And I think I just met her. The snow continued to fall as Bennett walked home through the quiet streets. For the first time in years, the emptiness inside him had started to fill with something warm and bright. Something that felt like hope. Sometimes the best things in life come from the places we least expect. Sometimes all it takes is a dare, a snowy evening, and the courage to show up.